Hey, it's Mike, feeling a little bit better. Got my sugar up a bit. Larola of Lifesavers works wonders. Still a little tired, but, wonderful. Now, your son or daughter with type 1 diabetes and the needles and everything, they really need to be the master of their diabetes. I saw it on a video that someone put out, and their son, I think it was the son, said, I have to be the master of my diabetes. Well, yes, you need to. And it's a good lesson to instill. I think when I got diagnosed with diabetes, a lot was different. Doctors were involved, and parents were involved, and your school was involved, and it was not really a good thing to be in. And I think what happened is I grew up my first years as being a diabetic as everyone else was involved in my care. And, what that kind of taught me was, oh, well, they'll handle it. It was to such a point that I started having lows in grade, was it 9 or 10? Grade 9, I would say. And my blood sugars were all over the place. And I would go low and have to go see the nurse. And I would get up, go home, and the next day I'd be back in the nurse's office, sometimes 2-3 times a day. And I had to, replenish their treats and take it to them. But again, it was kind of like, you're not doing that well. And it got to the point where the nurses and the doctors talked, and my doctor at the time really kind of didn't like the school nurses, and there was a doctor, I can remember, a lady doctor that was there one day. I think she worked for the school board, but she was there, and she ended up speaking to my doctor. And it was quite a conversation. But at no time did it say, well, here's the plan for you to stop having lows. It was just, okay, take your insulin and we'll see tomorrow. Hopefully, tomorrow will be better. And then when I went to the doctor, it was, oh, yeah, the school nurses called me about that. Well, maybe we'll cut back this insulin. And it was okay. We're going your merry way till the next visit. But I can remember going to that doctor's office and having a low blood sugar while I'm waiting for him. It was kind of like every 2 hours I would have a low. And I can only remember one day getting up and drinking. And, it's because, oh my God, a low. And so often, people are leery about taking control of their diabetes. And with me, it's really quite difficult to do anything with it because one day it could be completely different from the next. And maybe I have to go through the lows. But my fear is one time we're going to have a low and I'm going to have to end up pressing my little button. But when something major happens, like if I have a couple lows in one day or a severe low, contact my diabetic nurse, contact my endocrinologist, and if worse comes to worse, and I don't mean this derogatory, but my GP, and say, you know what? Hey, what do you suggest I do? And it's not so much of, oh, we'll wait 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks to your next appointment. We'll wait till then. Diabetes doesn't wait for anyone. And I think what that message kind of sends in a young person's life, especially with diabetes, I got it at 13. I was supposedly going to be more mature. But when it was handed to me, it was kind of like, I don't know what to do. Oh, you should be doing this, and oh, you should be doing that. And I end up going to countless. They used to be called diabetic daycares. I don't know what they're calling them now. But you need to be proactive with your insulin or your son's or your daughter's insulin. If it's 3 days of being high, well, it's time to get on the phone, time to make contact with whoever your support people are and say, he's been high for 3 days or she's been low for 3 days. What do you suggest we do? And for a while, I was controlling my own dose. 3 days, and I'm not a doctor, so check these out with your doctor, is I would have my insulin, go to school for 3 days, each day give my insulin, and then if I was high for 3 days at a certain time, depending on what type of insulin was causing it, I would correct that. And it got me down to okay blood sugars. Now, I don't really remember having a low when I was in Alberta. The lady who was cooking for us, she went to the diabetes seminar. So, again, it wasn't really me, it was them telling her to do something for me. And kids can gain a whole bunch more knowledge. It may take them a couple of times to remember, now you do this to do it right. But I think we've got to start being proactive and making sure that the insulin, and now, of course, we all know that you want to be stable as much as possible. Now, your blood sugar doesn't go perfectly straight throughout the day. It's amazing, but keeping your blood sugars normal, you're going to lead a long, healthy life. And I know your kids can do it. I know you can do it. There are going to be stumbling blocks. I have a little bit more than most people, but you know what? Anything can be achieved. Just got to keep thinking, don't let diabetes control you. You control your diabetes. Well, that's Mike from his little tired bed today. I hope you have a super day, and we'll talk later. Bye now.
This is